today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
We're back with another episode of Shop Talk. Today we're covering 802 of The Rookie, which had some changes from moving on to different roles, which it was great. It was a great episode. Loved the different changes and like the full circle moment at the beginning and end. We'll start off with some news first. It's just a quick little bit and then jump right into our recap. So it was reported today that The Rookie is moving to Mondays starting January 26th per deadline. So next week's episode will stay on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Central Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. This switch happens after next week. We'll also be shifting our podcast schedule a little bit. So we'll record on Tuesdays and release episodes on Wednesdays, beginning January 26th as well. So we're still going to be putting out episodes and everything like that. It's just going to be a different day of the week now. But something else to note from the deadline article is that we're getting 18 episodes straight.
Mhm.
Because with it moving to Mondays, it's not getting preempted because of the State of the Union. And then if the Winter Olympics is supposed to happen, it is supposed to happen. Um, Potentially like high potential might get preempted. So like that would affect to the rookie too if it was on Tuesdays. We're good. We're going straight through. So that's cool. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah. So with that, we can just go ahead and get started with the episode. Carrie, do you want to kick it off?
Yeah. So we're gonna start with obviously the POTUS visiting LA and their, main suspect and a little bit of the um Harpez business ideas
Yeah.
that they had going on. Um, so basically after returning from a case, they're all covered in dirt and everything. Harper and Lopez are like wondering why they do the job in the first place, especially Angela, since she's, really rich after all. She could just quit. Um, and Nyla wonders what she would do all day if she'd become one of those women who like eats at the country clubs and stuff. And Angela's like, maybe I'll shop, read more, like do, start a business maybe. And she's said that, Nyla could be a part of as well. And so they kind of, I mean, they have to like go, they're just happy to go home for the day.
Mhm.
So they think at the
Yeah.
time anyway. So they're like, okay, we're gonna put a pin in this for like right now.
Yeah.
Um, and then so obviously everyone knows that the president's coming to Los Angeles. So we have Chenford meeting up with the Secret Service agents, Agent Butler and Agent Kelvin, Kevin Kelvin to be more specific, because his father was a fan of alliteration. And Angela was like, who isn't? And Nyla and Angela are just standing out there in the parking lot, mind you,
Yeah.
until Bradford volunteers them to go down the list of like targets that they were watching, aka people that have been threatening the president. And Agent Butler was like, you guys can take like from 20 down.
Hmm.
Um, because of course the Secret Service deals with the highest priority people. And as they're walking away, Angela and Nyla are talking, and Angela's like, if we had our own, business and we were our own bosses, they wouldn't have to worry about that stuff. Um, and so as they're uh going from house to house, they had a few business ideas in mind. And they were thinking like a spa or like um other things like that. And they're at their like fourth house, which belongs to a suspect named Jerry Hudson, when Nyla sees like weapon materials inside, like pieces of like stuff, and it tells Angela, which prompts them to enter the house. And uh Jerry's gone, and so is his sniper rifle, because he misspelled rifle. And they know that obviously his spelling is the least of their problems now, because now he's on the loose with a weapon. So um, everyone gets called in for this. And so we see Lucy and Tim again, like come along with the Secret Service agents, and Nyla and Angela want to see like letters and other documentation that they have on this Jerry Hudson character. Not copies, they want the originals. And Butler, agrees to this after, of course, not really talking to any of the women directly, basically directing all of his communications towards Tim. And
I love how they all clocked it too. And
right,
all
yeah,
were collectively pissed. I mean, I would be too.
yeah,
So it's
yeah.
good.
And Tim being Tim is like, should I go over there? And they're like, no, we've dealt
Mhm.
with that before. Um, and then we also get to see that Kevin will be riding with Selena now to help with the search for Jerry. And the two hit it off thanks to their shared interest in astrology. And apparently, Kevin Kelvin claims that in a past life, he was President Lincoln, and that's the reason why he took the Secret Service job. Um, and Selena, I mean, like she seems to believe him, but also seemed, at least in my opinion, slightly surprised that there was someone
Yeah.
who, was even more into that stuff than she usually was, at work
Uh,
anyway.
yeah, I love how she was like, I have to tone it down at work. I've learned
Yeah,
that. I'm like, yeah, yeah,
which
it's
is
probably
true. I
wise.
mean, she has like her character has
Hmm.
evolved from all of like talking just strictly about that
Hmm.
spiritual or
Yeah.
spirituality um into more of her job and stuff.
But
But
then
it was
also
fun to
when
like
oh,
see.
what?
It
Yeah.
was just fun to like hear them talk about it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, when she was like, it's a safe space, I'm like, it is, but then they cut to the dash cam recording. I'm like, but it's being recorded, isn't it?
oh, that's
Doesn't
true.
someone have to like
Uh,
go back and look at it, or maybe not? They just look at like when the shop took a call, maybe.
yeah, I didn't
Because
even think about that.
I mean, there's been like worse things that have been talked about on that dash cam,
That's
like
very true.
worse things.
So
So,
true. Yeah.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Um, so their conversation gets cut short. They're called to the hospital because Jerry was apparently in a car accident. According to Bailey, he basically ran his car into a light pole. Um, which I love how they brought Bailey in for like 2 seconds for
Yeah,
that one scene.
yeah,
I mean, she comes back later, I know, but like just for that one specific moment of that scene.
yeah,
And of course, before they can get to him, he escapes. He's like knocking people over, like runs out, escapes the hospital. And I don't know what it was about like Bailey saying she did like a I can't speak today, thorough pat down of
hmm,
Hudson, and all she found was the empty knife sheath. And I was like, I get that he wasn't obviously like carrying any guns on him at the moment, but he obviously had easy access to them.
yeah.
So like what like I don't know. I guess maybe if they weren't, well, no, they would have been filled in on like how much of a risk he was, like as a suspect.
Yeah,
So
I would think
like
so.
I don't know. I just didn't get like how that could possibly happen if they had like he's,
Yeah,
transferred like from the car to the ambulance to the hospital and da da da. Like I don't know.
yeah,
Anyway, I just thought it was like just an odd thing. Like I don't know.
yeah. And I get why he's getting patted down, but if you're in a car accident, cops are also called to the scene. So why wouldn't
Yeah,
the cops be doing the pat down? I don't know.
yeah,
I mean, I know that firefighters have to too, but I was just like, okay, well, why was she doing it? I don't know.
yeah. I
Seemed
don't. It
kind of
was
odd
just
to
like an
me.
yeah. It was just like an odd comment, or
Hmm.
like I just didn't know why it was there. I
Yeah.
was like, when I originally heard that, I was like, oh shoot, does that mean he actually like has some sort of weapon and they're saying that she missed it
Yeah.
somehow? But then she said the empty knife sheath.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess he could have had his knife like tucked it somewhere, but like I don't know. Like I said, it was just weird.
Maybe the
Um,
knife like was just sitting in the car somewhere. because when he got into the accident, like I would hope that it wasn't like in the thing and
Yeah,
in his
that's true.
waistband or whatever. I
Yeah.
did see a interview earlier that was like recapping the rookie and everything. And they were talking about the Secret Service guys. But then there was also a comment about Bailey, and I'm trying to find it. It made me laugh because it was talking about how they had her and she did like the most amount, like, wait, let me see if I can find it. Okay. Over the hour, okay, and you had a tolerable amount of Bailey actually doing her job. And I was like, yeah, I mean, she was there to like serve that purpose of like they
Right.
brought him in and I mean, I couldn't see her being like, I don't know, just meeting up with them like when they were, trying to get Hudson or whatever. Like it was plausible that she brought him in and everything, but I just thought it was
Yeah.
funny.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. Just the reason I say that though is because like then the next scene is like, Miles and John being the ones to find him in the parking lot and like
yeah.
shootout starts. They're taking heavy fire, no one gets hurt, but Jerry escapes again, this time in a tow truck.
Which
Um,
it makes you question, where did he get that gun? Because he didn't go back to his house, so did he stash it somewhere?
that's what I'm saying. Like, I
And
don't
then like
understand it.
get into the car accident on purpose? Like, I don't know, it's weird.
Like, I just
Con
don't understand the continuity.
Yeah, the continuity here
Um,
is not right. And okay, you said that no one got hurt. I
yeah.
thought that too. But then we cut back after the commercial and Miles is getting
Well,
tended
yeah, I
to.
have that next. Yeah, I was like,
It's like,
okay,
what?
apparently someone did get hurt. Well, not like majorly hurt, I guess.
No.
Um,
But I was like,
yeah,
okay, well, maybe we just didn't see it. But even then, I went
yeah,
back and looked and I was like, no, we saw
right.
Miles multiple times and he did not get hurt.
Yeah,
Maybe it was just something from the shop, but I don't know. I was like, again, the
yeah,
continuity was not here.
hmm, yeah. Well, because then like cut to, after the whole thing, obviously after he escapes, like no one's worried about all the, bullet holes in the shop again, like, because he's already totaled five of them. And then we have Bailey treating Penn's
Mhm.
minor scrape on his head. So, um, yeah.
Which no one
And
totaling five shops is so on brand.
I know,
Honestly, it
yeah,
should just be one a season.
right. I was trying to like remember all of them. I mean, I remember a couple from the first like season, and then like one I think from two or three or something, and then
Hmm.
I can't place like the fourth or fifth one. Um, but anyway, um, we even got to see Lucy again, and like she basically tells them like, "Hey, you guys need to go back to the station to see if uh Lopez and Harper get anything from the girlfriend that they're interviewing, well, ex-girlfriend of Jerry's." And of course, the Secret Service is going to change the route again for the president because, got to protect the president. But no, they're not actually canceling the visit. God forbid
Hmm.
America doesn't see the president today. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't. I mean, I like, is that like a serious thing though? Like, they literally don't cancel things? Because, like, we have all those like movies, about like people trying to,
Yeah,
assassinate presidents and all that stuff. Like, he's just out and about to make a couple stops in Los Angeles, and then they're
right.
like, "No, we have to do this today."
Yeah, they
I
don't
don't
say
know.
like anything that he's specifically there for. It's not like he's or the president. We don't know if it's a he or she. I'm sorry, but we don't know if the POTUS is there for a certain conference or anything like that, like a speaking engagement.
I
We
mean, I
just know
remember they
that
said like
they're there.
something like there was one stop, some kind of discussion or something at like UCLA or something. I can't remember the other
Yeah,
thing, but it was like two places on the map or whatever.
yeah.
Um, I don't know. Just the whole thing was like funny because I remember we were talking about it. I can't remember when, if it was last week or the week before for our wish list thing of
Yeah.
like would we actually see,
Yeah.
a president, you know, an actor portraying the president, or like would we see anything, even remotely close to that? Nope, we literally saw nothing of an actual
No.
political figure.
Which
Um,
I'm glad that we didn't, just with the way that the political landscape is now.
well,
Like, I'm
right,
glad that we
yeah,
didn't. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, it was
fair,
just kind of like, why can't we just cancel it? But I mean, I
right,
guess the joke has to work in a way with this show. Because even
yeah,
Lucy was like, how am I supposed to keep him near a hospital every 10 minutes or whatever it
mhm,
was? And I was like,
yeah,
huh, interesting. I didn't like
mhm,
think that was a factor into it. But then again, like you don't really know all the routes and stuff for the president's safety. So yeah,
mhm,
it was interesting.
yeah,
And then like they thought they were going through the list
right,
and the Secret Service agents took the first 20 or whatever.
yeah,
Okay, this guy was what, like 23, 24?
yeah,
Because
24
and
supposedly,
then
yeah,
like they thought he was going after the president, but like
right,
everything flipped. And it was
right,
like, okay, so now we're not even worrying about the president here. Well, I
right,
guess Lucy still was, but
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So we then see Angela and Nyla interview Margaret, who's Jerry's ex-girlfriend. And Margaret's mom is there because it's more comfortable for her for whatever reason. And she tells them, well, I didn't really get it. Like, I mean, I guess like since he's, a
Yeah.
suspicious character, she gets nervous about it.
Did you
Um,
realize that she is the actress who played Eloise from the Eloise at the Plaza movies?
no, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
know I've seen that actress in other things, but no, I did not know
Yeah. Yeah,
that.
I was like, she looks familiar, and I thought she was a different actress. But then I was like, wait a minute. No, now that I'm seeing her
Mhm.
face more up close, she just reminds me of someone. And so I went to IMDb and I was like, that's her. Okay.
Yeah.
She was in an
Well,
episode of SVU too.
maybe that's where I've seen her then.
Yeah.
Probably. Well, because like the one, Kevin Kelvin, that actor was in the Kissing Booth movies, I think,
Oh,
that
he
are on Netflix.
was?
Yeah.
I thought he looked familiar too, but I've never seen those. So,
I haven't either. I like, me, I know random
yeah.
facts about anything that no one really cares about. Um, but in case anyone else didn't know, you're welcome. Um, anyway,
There's some fun facts for you.
yeah. So Margaret tells them that she dated Jerry for about 10 months, and apparently he was already paranoid when she met him. But then things got worse. He became obsessed with, if people were tracking him or reporting on him. He even accused her of, doing that and being one of them. Jerry thought his boss was in the CIA and that if he somehow got to the president, then, he could get all of this to stop. And they ask Margaret if she thinks that Hudson could harm the president. And Margaret told them, that she believes Jerry's dangerous and like could be very violent or volatile. Um, and then we see poor Chen with the damn motorcade route.
Yeah.
And Butler, of course, it has to be Butler because Kevin's still, on the road with Selena at the moment. But I'm like, why does it have to be Butler that comes over and is like, nope. So she has to start all over. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why? And
And then
like,
he
I
was like,
get,
I'll be back at 4 a.m. I'm like, okay, so
yeah,
you get to go and sleep, but what about her?
right. Yeah. It just like kills me. I'm like, I get that it's important to have to know exactly where the president is currently, will be, and then
Hmm.
will be going. Um, but like, goodness, it was just a lot.
Yeah.
Um, the next time we see Angela, she's giving Wesley a rundown of her business idea, which is a security company slash resort slash makeup line. Obviously, not all at once, but of course, Wesley can't picture that. vision that she has. So he's like thinking, how in the world would all three of those things mesh together? Um,
Yeah. I
and
can't picture it either.
yeah,
I'm with
I
you, Wes.
yeah. But at least, supportive husband vibes.
Yeah.
You love that for Angela. Um, and so it like cuts away from them because they have their little like few seconds of Lopez featuring Nyla for like 2 seconds, and
Yeah.
then cuts back over to the president thing. And because Gray's like, the president arrives in 2 hours or something, and they still don't have Jerry in custody. So Butler again starts to say, oh well, Bradford will do the motorcade route, and Tim's like, no, no, Lucy's got that still. So that was good. um and since like the stakes are high, and Butler mentions like the two stops or whatever that the president was going to make, there's going to be more like blockage blockages and like more road closures than normal. So basically we just have like a small montage of the LAPD having one hell of a time shutting down traffic, especially on the
Yeah.
whole west side of LA. So yeah, which I mean, I've only been to LA once in like a decade ago, and I still remember the traffic was terrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I can't imagine like I mean even the city of Chicago when they have like big events and stuff and then those events are like back to back to back weekends. I can't imagine like all of the work that the law enforcement officers, transportation, like those crews all do to just like make sure that everything runs smoothly.
yeah,
And driving through and dealing with all those closures, like I can't even imagine that. It has to
yeah,
be a pain in the neck.
yeah. So when Angela and Nyla are combing through Hudson's letters, they're laughing at his many misspellings until they realize that Phoebes actually means Phoebe and not anything with like the FBI. And apparently that's Margaret's middle name. So they deduce that Hudson's going to go after Margaret first, not the president. So they enlist John and Miles to meet them at Margaret's work. um Margaret like is at work. She answers the phone, and like they tell her to find somewhere to hide where the door can lock in the warehouse. And in that case that would be the office, so she like heads there. Of course Jerry's already inside and has started shooting, and Margaret's yelling for her coworkers to get down and hide, and she's making a run for the office and trying to get away from him. And I mean, I thought this was smart. She threw her shoe
Hmm.
down the stairs to convince him that she's run one way while she secretly takes off in the other direction.
Yeah.
Um, and thankfully, I mean, Miles, John, Nyla, and Angela are busy searching the warehouse floor for Jerry. Another shootout ensues, this time against Harper and Lopez mainly, because Miles was ordered to stay and protect Margaret's coworkers who were like hiding in one area, while John went to help um, Nyla and Angela. And so, like, the gunfire keeps going back and forth. John fires the shot that takes Jerry down. I mean, like, not like a kill shot or anything, but just
Right.
injures him to take him down. And then they get him into custody finally. Um, and that's where Angela tells Nyla that she'd do this job for free. So basically, like their, you know, side hustle business dreams are done.
Hmm.
Um, and Margaret runs over and is relieved that it's, everything's all over with, and she gave John a hug, and it makes sense now why we saw like that part in the trailer.
Hmm.
Um, but like honestly though, I kind of wish that like Nyla and or Angela could have taken the shot,
Yeah.
just with like the fact that like it was the misogyny like
Hmm.
earlier, and I was like, okay, they're both like badasses. Obviously we know they both can shoot. um like
Yeah.
why does it have to be John? Why?
I had that thought earlier, and that was part of
Why?
that interview as well. Or
Oh
not that
really?
interview, that
Okay.
recap. And I was
Okay.
just like, yeah, why? I get it. John Nolan is the main character. So
Right.
he is always going to be repped as the hero and like, kind of portrayed as that. I get that. I get it. But like you just had Prague.
Yeah.
You have all these other times. Can we let Angela or Nyla or Lucy or Selena, like literally anyone else really, just take the win? Especially like, yeah, like you said, it was like Angela and Nyla like working so hard on this. They built up that rapport with Margaret slash Phoebe. Like it just, yeah, it felt like it was still good that they got him down. Like I'm glad that they, arrested him and all that. But like we couldn't have let Angela or Nyla get that and like kind of,
Yep.
like show redemption for the misogyny that they dealt with earlier in that episode. I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah, I was kind of not annoyed with that, but a little like, oh, yeah, I guess annoyed because it
Yeah.
was like he gets literally every other thing. Like we
Right.
can't let Angela or Nyla have that.
Yeah.
And then to have Phoebe or Margaret go and run and give him a hug. I was like, okay, I guess because he did the final shot, but like,
Right.
wasn't she closer to Nyla and Angela, like standing by
Yeah,
them
because she,
anyway?
yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah, I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't
like
know.
it's fine, but yeah, obviously we women supporting women, all the girl power.
Yeah, yeah,
We appreciate that
yeah.
too.
What did you
Um,
think about the whole Angela and Nyla storyline as it was, like with the side hustles and no job type of thing?
I mean, I honestly thought it was kind of like just weird.
Yeah, same.
Like I didn't hate it or anything, but I was like, why? Because
Hmm.
like I like literally knew the answer before they even like the first second she started talking about it. I'm like, there's no way Angela would leave her detective job. Like she worked so damn hard to get promoted anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, yes, I know she's joked multiple times, trust fund, being rich, Wesley's money, yada yada yada. But like she loves being a cop.
Yeah.
Like so does Nyla. So it's like why? I mean, I get like, yeah, side hustle, but like Angela being like, oh, well, I could just have, no job and like, take, like have the whole day to myself. Like, I mean, yes, that's fine. Self-care and all that, that's
Hmm.
great. She deserves that. But yeah, Angela and country clubs, no.
No.
Angela like becoming one of those people that like just shops and gossips all the time. Also,
Uh-huh.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It to me felt like they needed something else for Angela and Nyla, so they were just like, we're just gonna throw this in.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, but why? I get it now, like thinking about it, reflecting on it, rewatching it a second time. Like it came full circle with the like them walking in and everything, being like covered in
Yeah.
sewage and stuff. I get that. But at the same time, like I feel like they've had other worse things happen to where they would question that. And it
Yeah.
was like, okay, so what made you lead, like, what led you to believe that? I don't know. It was just kind of
Yeah.
odd. And then I felt like all the different side hustles, I was like, okay, so what are we getting at? Because I don't want them to leave, but it, to
Right.
me,
I
like when I was
know.
first watching it, I was like, it's kind of hinting at that in a way.
I was like,
So,
goodness, I hope not.
but then also I think
Um,
it just showed their friendship. I mean, just
yeah.
because Angela was like, I can have my BFF run it with me. And then Nyla, like when they first went and went into Jerry's house, she kept calling her Angela, it wasn't Lopez. So I did
Hmm.
like seeing their friendship and like seeing them back together after last week, but it was just kind of odd, I felt like.
Yeah.
And then to have Wesley like come in and like question it and stuff, I was like, okay, what are we getting at here? So,
Yeah.
but that Lopez moment at the very end was amazing.
Yeah. After all that time, it's like, okay, Angela's finally like off track of the like side hustle, but now she's like, okay, on track to role play now. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, you go
Yeah,
off, girl.
yeah.
But I was just like, wait, have we ever seen them do any of that? Like,
I don't
or like,
think so.
be like that like I don't know, it was just different for them. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't think so, but I saw someone comment. They were like, I would pay good money to see a Lopez role play date. And I was like, honestly, same. Open the next episode with that. Like, give me Chenford, but give me
Oh my
Lopez.
God. Yeah.
Like that, please. Because Wesley
Oh
was
my
just like,
God.
okay. Like, he just like walked away and he was like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that was great.
I love how at the
Um,
end we went from Chenford to Lopez back to Chenford. And I was like, I love it here. Give me these
mhm.
ships.
Yeah, it was so good. At least at the very end for like this storyline, all was well, and the president, visited, took off smoothly from LA afterwards, and Secret Service agents can all, go back to their headquarters, and LAPD can go back to business as usual. And Selena was happy to be done with all of that too, but she, appreciated having met someone like Kevin that shares her astrological interests. So that was good,
Hmm.
for her to like have that connection.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we had talked about it before. Like, I knew we weren't obviously going to see like really anything of an actual political figure, but like it was just like you said, it like flipped like the
Hmm.
main motive behind, like threats and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Which I guess
anyway,
he was just on the list because of
yeah,
the threats and stuff that he had made online. So it was plausible. And then they just ended up finding like another case within that. So it does make
mhm,
sense. But
yeah,
so then we have Miles and his CI. And oh boy. So Miles asks Selena for advice on dealing with Nolan. And she's like, he's tricky. He seems like the nicest person in the world, but can lay down the law. And I'm like, can he? I don't know. I guess he can. He can. He can. And she's like, don't take him for granted. And I love that she's just so protective of Nolan. Like
yeah,
she just like wants to protect him at all costs. So Nolan and Miles are driving and going through, what's next in the Rook book and everything, and it turns out that it's a CI. And Miles is like, should we wait though until after the president is out of town? And John's like, yeah, but part of your training is multitasking, and we have to assume that, or Nolan assumes that he's already started cultivating a list of potential CIs. So they go through Miles' list, and the first two are out, according to Nolan. He says they're not ready to become CIs. So then Miles brings up Fast Andy, and Nolan is like, yeah, he's a good one in terms of connections, but he's not that bright. So Fast Andy is known throughout the whole like department, at least at Mid sure. Um, so Miles kind of sticks up for Fast Andy, and Nolan argues that, with the CI, they need to be able to keep up a lie. And Miles tells him that he's recruited informants before, and Nolan's like, okay, it's your call. Like, I'm there for guidance. I feel like we just keep having this runaround with Miles to where everyone like forgets that he previously was a cop in Texas. Like, yeah, it's
yeah,
different because it was a smaller
mhm,
town, but at the same time, like he still had some of the same stuff go on.
yeah,
But yeah, I don't know. It was just kind of like, okay, can we like let Miles have a moment where he just no one like questions him? But I think the point of this episode was second guessing and like,
yeah,
are you ready for that? Are you not? And then just kind of like I don't know, just second guessing and questioning a bunch of things. So Miles and Nolan pull up in an alley and they talk about how they should approach Fast Andy or how Miles should. So we find out that Fast Andy has to make it quick because his boss is all over him about counterfeit money. Apparently he thought Obama was on the $100 bill. That right there, I would be like, you know what? We're gonna see you another day. Like, I'm not.
right.
Why? He doesn't need to be a CI. Like, okay.
Yeah, I would have just turned right around, not even said a word, got back in the shop and drove
Mm-hmm.
away.
Yeah. Yeah. So Nolan and Penn are clocking out for the day and everything seems to be good. Miles and Selena are back in the apartment talking about the day. The Secret Service agent who thinks that he was Abraham Lincoln in his past life and Miles is CI. So Selena's like, out of all my past lives, none of them were famous. And I'm like, she has Phoebe vibes from Friends, no doubt. And I just love everything about it because Phoebe would talk a lot about her past lives. So Miles's phone keeps going off, and it's Fast Andy texting him funny videos. And they end up watching one of a kangaroo fighting a deer because Selena's like, "Oh, I've never seen that one before." And I just love how they were like besties already. I mean,
Right.
they already were, but like there wasn't any like awkward tension with them being in
Yeah.
there together,
Mhm.
which was cool. But I kind of want some of that like awkwardness, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I
Hmm.
do. Like, give it to me. I want like
Yeah.
the awkward, like Selena's doing a workout in the living room or something, and like Miles comes out and like she's, like mid workout. I don't know. I want something like that because I think it'd be so funny to see how they interact with each other because they are such good friends. And like platonic. No, it'd be really funny. So Miles is sitting on the floor and he's like, "Yeah, I'm not used to all the soft furniture, so it's just gonna take some getting used to." And I'm like, "Okay, but you have a couch right there and like a bed because he has a nice bed in the other room." So then we cut over to Nolan and Bailey. This entire conversation, I was like, "Okay, so why are we having this right now?" She's trying to convince him to raise chickens. And I'm like, okay, that's a fair point because like eggs can get expensive and like why not?
Yeah.
Um, and I don't really know like the point of this, but it led us to the Fast Andy stuff. And he's like, how are you gonna protect the chickens from the coyotes? I didn't think about it until my second rewatch, but was that a subtle callback to her bringing the coyote into the house and asking John if they could keep it as a puppy?
I would think so.
Because I watched it the second time and I was like, you know what? He's got a very good point. I mean, yeah, how would you protect it? But she also brought a coyote into their house and was like,
Right.
let's keep it. No. That's like Fast Andy thinking Obama's on the $100 bill. No.
Yeah.
This show is so unserious and so funny. Like, for what? I mean, I'm
Right.
glad that it's unserious and funny because we need some of that now. So a news report about Fast Andy comes on, and he tried to rob a dispensary. And he yells, "You can't arrest me. I have immunity. Call Officer Penn." This is not good. Not good at all. But what we do get that's good is Nolan's reaction and another meme of him just being like, "Oh, yikes." So Miles is just chilling on his floor bed because, it's not like he's got a nice bed right there, but he's not used to it. So then he gets a text from John and he runs out and asks Selena what channel 7 means. And part of me was like, wait a minute, he doesn't know the news channels, but then I remembered he didn't have a TV. And like he had moved to LA, so like he didn't know all the channels. So I was like, okay. Selena
Yeah.
then says Channel 7 is an old people's way of watching the news. I take offense to that because I watch the news on TV too. Not every night, but like
Yeah.
I watch the news.
That hurt me. I mean,
Yeah.
especially given like most of the cast actual ages, like they were
Yeah.
definitely around when the news was on. Like,
Right? I'm
this is
like,
like
okay,
why?
is that like a subtle like nod to the Gen Z fans? Because like they're not
Mm,
watching the news on TV.
that's true because the rookie has become popular somehow amongst
Yeah.
teenagers today, which I mean, more power to them, but like
Right.
it's
I mean,
not
it's
that was
not as
not like a
dark
good
as like
thing.
other cop procedural shows.
Right.
So if the teenagers are gonna get into a cop show, it's gonna be the rookie by far because like there's a
Yeah.
lot of other dark ones. But
Especially with
like,
like all the TikToks and stuff. Like that's the
yeah,
big thing, I think, too.
yeah. But yeah, I was just kind of like, the news channels aren't for old people though. Like, do I know all of my news anchors and meteorologists and watch them at 10 o'clock at night? Yeah, I do. So what? I'm literally the same age as or a little bit younger than the cast. So yeah, that just felt like a
So I was like,
little
why?
offensive. Yeah. So then they turn on Channel 7 and Andy calls Miles and he's like, I need you to call off the cops. And Miles is like, no, what you need to do is walk out the door with your hands on your head. And Andy's like, you told me you could get me out of trouble. And Miles is like, did you go and rob a dispensary to test that? Um, and I'm just like, yeah, I mean, listen, it's legal, so it's not like you're gonna get caught on the street for it, but you can't rob the place. So the next morning, Tim walks up to Miles in the locker room and he's not happy. He reads him the riot act. The Department of Public Relations has been fielding calls nonstop about cops making immunity deals with dirtbags. And Miles takes complete responsibility, like immediately. Nolan steps
Good.
in, but Tim just keeps going on and like on to tell Nolan that he knows better to let Miles make a CI deal with Fast Andy. And Nolan's like, I was just trying to make it a teachable moment. And Tim is still fired up. He's like, I'd cut both of you, but we need all the help we can get with the president coming. So, and we need to find Jerry Hudson.
Yeah.
So Nolan and Penn are patrolling the street, talking things over from the day before. And Penn's just like, I do better with the real hard asses as my boss. And he's like, Nolan, can you be more the drill sergeant type? And at this point, I'm like, he'll get right on that, Miles. He'll get right on that. So as they're clearing Margaret's work and looking for Jerry, Nolan gives Penn orders to stay on his six, focus on his sector, control his fire. And he's like, don't go all cowboy. So, like Nolan tells Miles to stay there. He does it. Everything's fine. Um, so, kind of towards the end of the episode, Nolan tells Penn that he's been thinking about his coaching preferences. And he's like, I'm not going to be the drill sergeant type because you ultimately have to learn how to deal with me and with, other police officers. You don't get to choose who you work with, which was very fair. I liked that speech that Nolan gave just because, yeah, you don't get to choose who you work with. Like, you have multiple different personalities that you work with on any given day and that come in and out, like you have to just learn how to deal with it. So Nolan tells Tim that Penn is his rookie now and he can't train him effectively if Tim's second guessing his methods every shift. So Tim's like, you're right, I'll stop. It won't happen again. But Tim's like, Fast Andy was a perfect storm of stupid. And, it's Tim's job to yell at him if his training produces a bad result. And so
Mhm.
before Nolan leaves his office, he tells Tim that he admires how he handled himself and it couldn't have been easy to see Gray step back into the role just for a day and Tim step aside, which I liked that little Brolin moment for
Yeah,
sure.
I think so.
We had another good Brolin moment too earlier in the episode when Tim was like, don't do it your way or something, do it my way. But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so that was it for the Miles and Nolan stuff. And I'm excited to see where else that goes because I think now that they've established the boundary of, my like Nolan's not going to be the drill sergeant type. Like now it's going to be the boundary of like seeing how they work together. So,
Yeah. Of course, this is Nolan's second time where his rookie screwed up on like the first day under his watch since Selena's first day didn't go
hmm
well at all. I mean, I get that he likes
yeah.
to have teachable moments, but like if you literally see someone like, you know, running into danger, don't you want to be like, hey,
Uh-huh.
stop? Like, take a second. But
Well, and
no, he just
like
kind of lets him do. I mean, I get it, but I don't,
yeah. And like
basically.
you knew that Fast Andy was not a very good CI. And
Yeah.
then when he comes out and he's like, yeah, I thought Obama was on the $100 bills. Right there should have been like, you know what? We have to go make a call. Like Miles, we're going to choose a different CI. Like, like you said, yeah. I mean, all for the teachable moments, but when it's the first day, like you shouldn't be just allowing that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even because he has a bad track record with the shops, like that alone, you shouldn't be like letting everyone just have teachable moments.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Especially if it's not like abundantly clear until after the uh like point is lost, you know, like after the
Uh-huh.
full situation goes to hell, it's like, okay, what's the point now? The point is lost because everyone's just all upset.
Right.
So it's like
Yeah.
what did that teach them? To not piss people off.
Yeah. So our last little bit, we have Tim's new role in Chenford moving in, which was amazing. So Gray's walking with Tim, filling him up in on what his job will entail. And Tim's like, I know, I've done your job before. And Gray's like, no, you've only filled in. This is different than just like 1 or 2 days here and there. Um, so we see them go into Gray's office, which we see a new name plaque going on the door window that says Sergeant Tim Bradford, Watch Commander. Love that for us. Love that for us. So Gray tells Tim a few last things and then he's out of there. But Tim has to remind him that it's his office now. And Gray's like, yeah, force of habit. I'm on my way out. So before roll call, Lucy comes in as girlfriend to Lucy and wishes him good luck and tells him he's earned this. I love how she was just like giving him all of the praise, like gently, because he doesn't necessarily take to that very well. Well, not very well, but he's just kind of more like standoffish with stuff like that. And so he's stuck on the girlfriend Lucy part, and she backtracks and she's like, she uses live it and girlfriend Lucy. And she's like, LIGF, Lucy is clocking out and Sergeant Chen is clocking in. And he thinks that's weird, but she explains that their jobs are too important to let their relationship interfere. And they really need to be professional, which I get. Like, you need to have that professional work-life balance, especially when your significant other is like, either your level in the org chart or like higher. So everyone's sitting in roll call, and Nolan tells Lucy, it's weird to see Tim in Gray's office. And Lucy's like, I know, everything's changing, everyone's moving around. And Nolan then says, so who am I? And Lucy giggles and she's like, you're just Nolan. And I loved how she like acted in that, the body language, the facial expressions, everything like that. And I'm just like, the poor guy just wants to be included, but like, you're not going anywhere. Like, you, Angela, and Nyla, and Selena are not moving anywhere. Like, it's just a few people that are moving and like changing positions. So Tim comes in, gets a round of applause for everyone, and he quickly gets down to business. He's like, okay, that's enough. And like, everyone just stops. I'm like, oh my gosh. So he addresses the changes. We have some rolling banter in there. He mentions that the president is landing in LA in 36 hours. And Smitty groans and he's like, it's an allergy. Like, that is the only Smitty appearance that we really got this whole episode, which was a shame, but like, it needed to be a little bit more serious. Um, so the Secret Service will be operating out of the station for 48 hours, and Tim wants to them to show how real law enforcement's done. So I loved that after roll call, Tim holds Lucy back for a minute and he like gives her a big binder that he brought in. And he tells her that, he's been working with the Secret Service, and the only thing left to lock down is that motorcade route. And since, she realizes that he's watch commander now, so it falls to her. And she's like, so am I locked into your plan? And he's like, no, if you want to change it, you can. And I love how he was just like so gentle and like, you got this. Like, I know you can. Kind of attitude with her. So, he's like, it's not as simple as you think. And, he lets her know that like his recent proposal is in there. Um, but he tells her like her reworking the motorcade plan can't interfere with her other duties. So she's like, so I should probably just stick with it then. And she goes to walk out, but then like he pulls her back again in a way, and he is like, so was roll call okay? And like asks her in this quiet, like soft, kind of vulnerable tone. And she's like, speaking of Sergeant Chen, you were maybe a tad too gruff. He's like, I loved how his voice got high pitched and he said, well, everyone's adults. I don't need to coddle them. And I'm like, I mean, you're right. Like, you don't need to. They all have guns and they're all police officers. Like, I think they're capable of having a little like tough love there. But yeah, you could like, add in a little motivational something there. And she even says like Gray would always end on a good note. And Tim's like, well, that was his style, but I need to find mine. So Gray checks in on Tim at the end of the day to see how everything went. And it's all good except for the chaos of the day. And Gray's like, well, that never changes. And then Lucy comes in and she's like, I have to rain check on our dinner for the first night that we're living together. Tim offers to stay to help. but she's like, no, I want this to be my thing. I want to prove that I can do it without the watch commander there helping me. And, she doesn't want it to look like he doesn't trust her. So he's fine with that. He's like, call me with any questions and no one needs to know. And as she walks out of his office, she tells him, in my mind, I'm kissing you right now. And I'm like, Lucy Chen in his office, in the station. Yes, I'm here for it. I am. I am. Like, first day that he's watch commander and like second day that you guys are back together and you're already saying this. Oh, what's to come? What's to come? So Tim calls her as she's still working, asking if he's talking to Sergeant Chen or LIGF Lucy.
I literally
And
don't know how Eric and Melissa said that without like
I
tripping
know,
over it.
I know. Because when I was writing it in the outline, I was like, wait, is it LIFG or LIGF? Like, you
Yeah.
know. So he asks her if she's eaten and she hasn't, but she's like, I can just get something out of the vending machine. And then he shows up with a bag of takeout at the office. Okay. I love them. I love them so much. Like it's so sick how they're cute, but like you just can't help but love it? So, and I put this in that line, but I mean, obviously I realized it in the first watch, but I was like, wait, the bag of takeout resembles our Chenford times six design because I modeled it off that.
Oh,
I was like,
yeah, I
hey,
didn't think about
so
that. Oh, that's fun.
it's, in my delusion yeah, yeah, I mean, that's fine. Um, so he asks her if she's changed her mind about help, and she's like, no, but you can stay and eat with me. And I'm like, everyone at the station knows. Everyone does because like Miles called it out, like Selena obviously knows. Gray even called it out. I'm like, okay, so everyone knows about Chenford, which that's great. Um, Now like I need to know, are they all they're all happy for them, but were they all like shipping them? Were they, rooting for them? So, she like continues on and she's like, I don't want any advice from you on dealing with Secret Service agents. I just want to complain about it. So then we go the next day and Tim walks into his office and sees Gray there getting his stuff out of his bag and Tim's confused. And Gray, tells him that it's temporary and Tim's like, yeah, but, this still like reflects bad on me. But it's just with the president coming into town, they want a seasoned veteran back in like the office. Just in case like, something does happen, like they don't want it to look like a newbie is there and they were underprepared. So Tim gets it and, they carry on, but he still like just seems kind of thrown off by it. And I wonder if we'll have this happen more at some point. Like maybe not for a full day or whatever it is, but even like, half a day or something, just because, I mean, they're not going to show the task force all the time, right? So, like, we're not going to have Gray, but are we just not going to have him checking in at all? Or, like, I'm curious to see how it's going to play out for sure.
Yeah.
But then I also saw someone say, I think it was on Instagram. She was like, what happens after the task force is done? Does Gray just like come back and like everyone reverts back to their roles, like Tim and Lucy at least? Or does Gray then become captain? And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, what does happen? Ideally, Gray becomes captain because I don't want him to go anywhere.
Right. And
But
they haven't
like,
had a captain since season
yeah,
one. So
since Anderson. But like, what does that look like then for Gray, Tim, and Lucy? Like, who's leading command there? I don't even remember like how that worked because we also didn't have a sergeant when Anderson was around. So that'll
yeah.
be interesting. But um, I don't know. I'm kind of all for it. Like Gray coming in and out. I mean, he was definitely missed in this episode, and I thought it was kind of odd how they were like, yeah, he's joining the task force today, but then he came back
Yeah.
for that brief time to like sit in the office and like
Yeah.
lead things, which I get because they wanted someone who was seasoned.
I was
But it
like,
was
did
like,
terrorists just stop attacking
yeah.
places?
But I was like, Okay, they knew that the president was coming, so why couldn't they just put off Gray going to the task force for like another day or
Yeah.
two? It just felt kind of weird that they like were, like, okay, bye Gray, but then wait, you're coming back. So I
Hmm.
don't know. It's kind of weird. So Gray's in the roll call room, everyone's confused, and it wasn't shown, but Chenford, I know, caught each other's gaze. Like that they did. And Tim looks annoyed and pissed, and she looks worried, like he was doing something wrong. And so Gray asks Tim if he has anything to say at the end of roll call, and he ends with a great speech. They catch up after that. She, thanks him for telling Agent Butler that she's still coordinating all the routes. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And he is like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And refers to her as Sergeant Chen and asks what the first order of business is. He's like, "I'm not bringing any type of personal feelings into this. Like, it's just work." So at the end of the episode, Gray's packing up his stuff, and Tim thanks him for stepping in for the day, and you know, Gray reminds him that the brass just doesn't know him yet, and so like he needs to start forging those relationships. And even Tim knows that he needs to work on his social game. And Gray suggests having Lucy help him. I'm like, yeah, yeah, she could. I mean, he's always kind of struggled with this. Like, he's always kind of struggled with being like more inward, or even like when people, are kind of trying to get closer to him, he's, kind of pushing them away or like throwing up walls. Like, he's always struggled with this. You would think with that therapy that he had that we never saw, that he would like, kind of be better with it. But he was obviously just focusing on relationships with like his relationship with Lucy, which is a-okay. So Lucy then comes in after Nolan, and she's like, "Are you ready to go home for our first official night together?" And we see them walk in the door together to Tim's house, and all of her stuff is there in the living room. He's like, "I didn't know where to go with it." And then Kojo walks in and greets them.
Yeah.
They agree it's overwhelming and decide to go out to dinner. And Lucy wants to bring Kojo, even though it'll limit their dinner options. So they get Kojo ready to leave, and but not before she kisses him and like looks back. And I loved how the episode started with her looking at her room in the apartment and then like ended with her looking at Tim's house. Like, it was very full circle. Kojo is not a child of divorce anymore, as people say on social media, which
Hmm.
we love
Yeah.
that for him. Um, I honestly love that they had Kojo come in the first time that they both walked in the door. Like, obviously we know Kojo is still there, but
Yeah.
like they could have easily been like, "Oh, like they could have easily not even acknowledged it, but they did." And I loved that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that scene lives rent free in my mind. Like,
Hmm.
rent free in my mind. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that was it for all the Chenford stuff. I love that we're getting those domestic moments, and it's not all at once, or it's just like one big scene and like it's done. I love that we're getting like bits and pieces. I did see that Max from TV Guide, who does a lot of the rookie content, um, posted, and he was like, if you've been loving the Chenford domestic moments, then wait until episode 3 because it gets even
Hmm.
better or something. And I'm just like, oh, I'm sad. I'm sad
Yeah.
because next episode is, I believe, the one where her and Selena are helping the kidnapped victim.
Yeah.
And yeah,
And
they
that
rest,
promo was creepy as hell. So,
yeah. But it mainly only focused on John. And I'm like, okay, but Lucy and Selena have a part in that too, because that's the kidnapping victim. Um, and I'm just like, oh, it's gonna bring up some of the barrel stuff for her. It has to. It has to. So I don't know. I guess we'll see.
hmm.
Let me see if I can find Max's tweet because I think it was on Twitter.
I mean, I had like retweeted it from the Shop Talk account,
Oh,
but
okay. Okay.
um,
But yeah, it was like, oh,
I mean, you
Max,
summed it up. Yeah.
don't tease us with a good time, you know?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that is about it for this episode. I mean, unless you have
Yep.
any other notes.
Nope. No notes. It was good.
It was a good one.
Yeah. Yep. So you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _, or you can email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And we are also individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And I'm at jstark804.
We are also on TikTok at the Shop Talk Podcast _, and we have merch at shop-talk.dashery.com. So if you want merch, be sure to check that out too.
Merch like our Chenford, like the thank you takeout bag, but Chenford.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
never enough Chenford.
No.
Yeah. So next week we'll be back recapping 803. So
Yeah.
we'll see you guys then.
Bye.
Go get him, boo.